Hello students, good afternoon. This is a special video lecture just only for the purpose of solving the problems actually for module 3, 4 and 5. So I think you can see my screen. Let me pick up some pen that will be suitable for me. Okay, so module 3, 4 and 5. So 3 generally doesn't have much of problems. Okay, so it's not much of a design basically. Okay, so it lacks in design, so not many problems that you can't expect in 3, but 4 and 5 has quite larger number of problems. Okay, fine. So now let's go forward. So I'll be putting my screen in only this much size because I need to write my so I have to do annotations, so I'll do with that. Okay, so let me take module 3. This is module 3 basically. Okay, so module 3, module 3. So in module 3 we have rectifiers, clippers, clampers and peak detectors. So clippers, clampers, I think you may easily solve that one, so I have not included any design problem here. So here what I'm going to trying to do is only peak detector, because peak detector must be a little bit different for you guys, so I thought I will deal with that one here. Okay, so you can see here in a peak detector that first of all you need to identify what configuration this op-amp is working in. Basically looking at this one, okay, look here, just take only the op-amp itself, what configuration it is, you can tell me. So we know that this one is nothing but a non-inverting amplifier. Okay, non-inverting amp. Yeah, so whatever you are giving it, I'm considering my diode is on. Okay, with that I'm just telling that. So sorry, considering the diode is on, I'm writing it as non-inverting. Okay, so when the diode is on, it is non-inverting. Okay, so when D is on, basically D1 is on. Note down that. Okay, so what if when the D1 is on, we know that whatever the input signal is coming in, it will not be phase shifted. It will just like as it is, what you're giving in, you will get as it is exactly, no difference at all. Okay, and now once the diode is on, basically what happens, like the capacitor starts charging. Okay, and we have a load resistance is there, so don't consider the load resistance as of now. You just consider only that you have an open pin here, no load, under no load condition. Just consider that your capacitor is charging towards the peak value of whatever the voltage that has been given by the diode. Okay, so once the peak value is reached, the diode's VC value will be at peak basically. Okay, so now once the peak value is reached, diode will be, yes, right, you're right, diode will be disconnected, or the diode will be off basically, because the negative, at the end side, the end side is more positive than the P side, it will get disconnected. Okay, so when it disconnected, obviously the op-amp's output doesn't reach the output. Okay, so it directly, so you are basically at the output, you are just observing only the capacitor voltage. But in this case, since a load resistor is available here, so what happens, like that the slight discharge, because the time constant will be, or obviously this R and C, so discharge will happen. So that discharge you will observe it across the RL. Okay, so this is what it is. So now what is the problem in this basically? What is the design issues in this? So basically what you might have studied earlier, that if you give a random signal like this, very random signal like this, go up, down and up, down and up, down, like this, so you can able to find out that your capacitor will go like this, then it traces the path like this and falls down, and then again traces up, falls down, something like that. Okay, you know this one. So the main aim of this design problem is that they are asking you to draw the output waveform basically. Okay, so a sine waveform is there, you need to basically draw the output waveform. So you need to identify this 1 kilohertz sine waveform, no amplitude is given, so you need to basically assume if there is no amplitude is given to you, just assume a specific amplitude peak value of the sine wave Vm. So from that try to find out what will be your output waveform. So that's what you need to draw. So now look here, it says I have given you, so this is sine wave which is given here. So sine wave is increasing as it reaches the peak waveform. Obviously your capacitor starts charging now, and obviously what we can see here, you will observe the capacitor's output voltage here basically. And yeah, so since you are measuring only across the load resistor, you will have a waveform like this. So this is the challenging thing that you may have to know. You are not basically observing across only the C, but you are observing only across R. Okay, so the capacitance discharge waveform is not very clearly seen here, but you may have to draw it during the examination. Okay, this is your first problem. That's from the module 3, and this one is from obviously from module 4. Okay, so module 4 is about wave shaping. Am I right? Yeah. So module 4. So in this module 4, we have wave shapers like starting from the comparators. Okay, positive comparator, negative comparator is there, and we have comparators with some reference voltages, and all the stuffs are there. Okay, so and yeah, that will be pretty much a very straightforward design for you. So so that's why I have not included that. So I have included only Schmitt trigger, which will be pretty much complex than the usual comparator. So we know that Schmitt trigger is a dynamic reference voltage comparator, where whatever the signal that you give, it will convert that into a square wave. It's not only that, its reference voltage keeps changing. Okay, so the output will switches between first VUT and then VLT and then VUT and then VLT. So even though when the input may cross your VUT and it will change your output, but when the input goes below and crossing your VUT, still it doesn't change. So once one VUT is crossed over, we know that the reference voltage changes, and we have next VLT only will come in. Okay, is that okay? So that's what it is. Theoretical, I can't go much into theoretical. So just brief theory I have told you. So you may have to do a groundwork. So VUT, upper threshold voltage, and VLT. These are the two important parameters. Okay, so the difference between this is your hysteresis basically. Okay, so most problems will be based on this VUT and VLT and hysteresis. Okay, so now so in this circuit, I have not shown any Schmitt trigger circuit here, but you can just assume that you have a Schmitt trigger circuit like this. Like for example, like you have a circuit like this. Okay, so my input goes in here. So that's your circuit with the okay. So this I have connected in terms of both inverting and non-inverting. Sorry, both. I mean, as an inverting amplifier and negative feedback. So, but just in some cases, what will happen is that you may have. I'm just giving you all possible scenarios. Okay, so you may have straight away. Sometimes you will not have any resistor at all. Straight away, you will have this. Only this you will have. So, you will have R1 and R2. Okay, so this is your beta basically. So beta is equal to R2 by R1 plus R2. Okay, so you may have to this is nothing but your which will decide your VUT. So what is your VUT basically? Or the voltage across the beta when V naught is at plus Vsat. So we will have plus Vsat into R2 by R1 plus R2. That's your VUT, and VLT is minus Vsat into R2 by R1 plus R2. Sorry, this is R2. Okay, now these are the two things. So now what they are asking you to find out, this is a schematic of this. So VI, this is my VI. So VI, the input voltage is there, is given as peak to peak 1 volt. Okay, so V reference is 0 volts basically. Okay, so V reference is 0 volt, they are saying. So R2 is 100 ohm, R1 is 50k, V reference is 0 ohm. So that means you don't have to worry about this one V reference. This is just to confuse you. Okay, so R2 is 100. So R2 is 100 here, and this is 1k. So this is 100 ohm, and this is 50k. So a sine wave 1 volt peak to peak is given. This is 1 volt peak to peak is given to you. Okay, saturation voltage of plus or minus 14 volts. So Vsat plus or minus Vsat is plus and Vsat is 14 volts. Okay, so now threshold voltage, they are asking you to find out the threshold voltage. So what you basically do is VUT is what basically what plus Vsat, that is so 14 volts into R2. R2 is 100. Okay, divided by R1 plus R2, that is 50100. So we will get 28 millivolts. That's your VUT. And VLT is again R2 by R1 plus R2 into minus Vsat. So it will be minus 28 millivolts. Okay. So they are not asking you to find out any other hysteresis or other thing, but hysteresis you can still find out. What will be hysteresis? Basically VUT minus VLT. So in this case it will be how much it is? 28 millivolts and 28 millivolts, basically 28 millivolts minus of minus 28 millivolts. So it will become almost 56 millivolts. Okay, 56 millivolts. So that's your hysteresis. Okay, all okay? Okay, let's move forward. So now next question, again same from the schematic only, from the Schmitt trigger only. So for a Schmitt trigger shown in figure below, so that's a Schmitt trigger. So supply voltage, see supply voltage is mostly will be, sometimes will be given, sometimes it won't be given, but if it is not given you can still assume it has to be 15 volts, plus 15 and minus 15. Okay, so calculate the threshold voltage levels and hysteresis. So basically they ask you to find out what is VUT, VLT and hysteresis, all three. And Vsat is assumed to be 0.9 into 15. So you can calculate about what is Vsat. So same problem, the same type of problems. So you can see here VCC is 15 volts, Vsat is 0.9, and VCC, that is 0.9 into 15 is 13.5 volts. Okay, and R1 is 15 kilo ohm. It's given here. R1 is given in the problem. This is your R1 basically. That's your R1, and that's your R2. Okay, so R1 is 15k, 51k, and R2 is 120 ohm. Okay, so VUT same problem, same formula. Use the same formula. Same formula is being used here. Okay, same formula, use it and find it. So you will get 0.03169. Okay, so you will get almost 31 millivolts. Am I right? Yeah, 31 millivolts, and this is minus 31 or 32. We can make it as 32. Yeah, it's 0.6 now, so 32 millivolts. So what will be hysteresis? It will be 64 millivolts as hysteresis. Okay. Next problem is a multi-vibrator. So again, it's in the module 4. Okay. So sometimes they won't mention what multi-vibrator is, what type of multi-vibrator is in the question. They won't mention it. Okay, what type of multi-vibrator it is. So an op-amp multi-vibrator is constructed using the following components. R1 is equal to 35 kilo ohm, R2 is equal to 30 kilo ohm, R is equal to 50k, and C is equal to 0.01 microfarad. Calculate the circuit's frequency of oscillation. So, if they say that it is a frequency of oscillation, that means it is an unstable, because it doesn't have any stable state. So, this is the keyword here, as stable. If it is monostable, they may not ask you to find out. They will ask you to just to find out only the time period. Okay, because time period of a trigger is given, and what is the time period of the unstable state, they will ask you. So that's what it is. Okay, so hope you can understand the point which I am trying to say. Okay, fine. So now, obviously same thing. So you know that a stable multivibrator circuit looks exactly similar to your Schmitt trigger, except that it will have, instead of this one, what you basically have. Let me erase other things. I'm just trying to show you what will be your, instead of this, what you will have basically. So you will not have source here. Instead of source, what you will have? You will have a capacitor here. Sorry. You will have a capacitor which can charge towards Vsat through a resistor R. Okay, and obviously the beta and everything is same. So this immediately, these circuits and all will not be given to you when you solve the problems. Okay, so you need to be very thorough with your circuits, which circuit it is, and wrongly if you draw the circuit, then it will become a problem for you. Okay, fine. So now same thing, beta R2 by R1 plus R2, find out that 0.6. Why do we need this? Because we need to find out what is T, time count, because they are asking you to find out the frequency of oscillation. So if you find out the time period, then F is equal to 1 by T, you can easily find out. Okay, so you don't require any other things. Okay, so here it is given already, R1, R2 is given, R is given, and C is given. Okay, so we can see here, I have erased it, but R and C is from the resistor, where through the resistor where the capacitor charges. Okay, so beta is equal to R2 by R1 plus R2, so 30k by 35 plus 30k is equal to 0.462. Okay, fine. Now the time period is basically calculated by the formula for T is equal to 2 RC ln of 1 plus A by beta by 1 minus A by beta. Okay, so RC is there, beta we know. Find out your problem. We will have T is equal to almost 0.001 second, that is 1 millisecond. So it will be 1 kilohertz. Okay, it's very easy. Then phase shift oscillator. Design a phase shift oscillator to oscillate at 100 hertz. Okay, so what is a phase shift oscillator basically? This is which is again in module 4 only. Okay, so in module 4, what we have 3 oscillators, sine wave oscillators. One is your RC phase shift, another one is your Wien bridge. Yeah, two. I think Hartley and other things are not included in your syllabus, so we haven't covered that up. So it is only RC phase shift oscillator and the Hartley oscillator. So we know the equation straight away. So basically, what is the equation? F is equal to frequency. They are asking you to find out the how to design the oscillator which can oscillate and to a frequency of 100 hertz. So F is equal to basically 1 by 2 pi root 6 RC. 1 by 2 pi root 6 RC. So now F is given to you. That's your F. Okay, and we need to find out the value of R by assuming the value of C. Okay, so C basically you need to assume, you should always assume to be less than 1 microfarad. That is nothing but 0.1 microfarad is always best. Okay, so assume the 0.1 microfarad, find out the value of R. R is nothing but 1 by root 6 2 pi 10 to the power minus 7 into 100. Okay, is that okay? Fine. So this is what you will get. Okay, so then 6.49k is my resistor value. So that's your for the resistor of your feedback network, that is your R and C. Okay, so gain formula we need to do that one. That is we know that for an RC phase shift oscillator the beta should be equal to 29. Okay, so you may have to design the circuit also for the gain also to be equal to 29. That is very easy also, that's not a problem at all. Okay, so R is 66.5 kilo ohm, that is a practical value you can take, and then to prevent loading of the RC amplifier, RC network, we take R1 should be less than or equal to 10R, less than or equal to 10R. Okay, so R1 is 10, R is 65 kilo ohm. So R is 65 kilo ohm means like what we have 10 is, let R1 we have taken it as 10. Okay, so since RF is equal to 29 R1, this is the gain, because beta basically we know that it is 1 by 29. So your A should be equal to greater than or equal to 29. So your RF, this is an inverting amplifier only we use, so that also you should remember. Okay, so inverting since it's an inverting amplifier, it is an AF is equal to minus RF by R1. You can just take the magnitude alone. Okay, so you can just neglect this one. Okay, so then means RF will be equal to 29 R1. So take that value and you will have RF should be 1885 kilo ohm. So this is how we design an RC phase shift oscillator. Okay, so let me go to the next one. So next one is module 5, because so your Wien bridge oscillator also you may have to design it similarly. So I have not gone into that also. Okay, so I will leave it to you. So this is module 5. So I am giving you one example in all the critical designs. I am giving examples. Okay, so rest I want you to solve it, design it, and come prepared for your CAT 2. Okay, so now the circuit is given to you. It's a low pass filter design. So this is a second order. Yeah, second is given there, second order. Okay, so it should be in the Butterworth response, and this basically this particular circuit is popularly known as Sallen-Key. Okay, Sallen-Key. Okay, so we have RA and CA. This is our one order of our low pass, is one RC component, and this is another RC component. Okay, so both put together, both RC networks forms as the second order low pass filter. And the second order low pass filter, obviously this capacitor, one capacitor is grounded, whether the other capacitor is connected to the output. So this is how the Sallen-Key will look like. I have given you explanation on why it is so during the theory class, so I am not going to give it to it now. So now obviously we know that F is equal to 1 by 2 pi RC. Straight away put that equation. Okay, we know what is R and we know what is C, because RA is equal to RA, RA is equal to RB, and CA is equal to CB. So now that's the reason why we got it as FC is equal to 1 by 2 pi RC. It should be actually it should be FC is equal to 1 by 2 pi root of RA RB RCA CB, RA RB and CA CB. That's the equation basically. I write it down here for you. FC is equal to 1 by 2 pi root of RA RB into CA CB. So since RA is equal to RA is equal to RB is equal to R, and similarly CA is equal to CB is equal to C. So when you put like this, you will get FC is equal to 1 by 2 pi RC. So substitute that equation in this. So what you will get is 7.23 kilohertz. That's the cutoff frequency. That's fine. Now the other question is that set the value of R1, which is R1. We have two values here. Okay. So what is the condition to be second low pass filter? AF should be equal to 1.586. So we need to set that one properly. Okay. So if we have to do so, I have to keep R1 R2 ratio as 0.586. Because why it is so? Because it's a non-inverting amplifier. Okay. So AF will be equal to 1 plus Rf by, in this case Rf is nothing but R1, so it is R1 by R2. So it will become 1 minus of 1.586, so it will become 0.586 only. Okay, so then R1 is equal to 0.586 R2, so R1 you can keep it as 586 kilo ohm. Okay, is that fine? Because R1, R2 is already given, the value is given 1 kilo ohm. So if it is 1 kilo ohm, it is 586 kilo ohm. Okay, the ratio is 0.586. Okay, this is the design of a low pass filter. So that's all from me for this problem. For the problem series of module 3, 4, and 5. So work out all the other problems and try to come prepared for the exam. And this one for the high pass filter is going to be exactly the same. LPF, the LPF design what you have seen today, what you have seen now here, is exactly the same. Okay, except that your C and R will be interchanged. The position of C and R will be interchanged. Okay, then all the best, do well. Okay, so bye from me right now, and we'll join later after CAT 2. We'll meet in the regular classes. Bye.